Good evening and welcome to Black Press USA and Fire. Tonight, we have the great Stephanie Mills. Stephanie Mills has one of the most distinctive voices in contemporary music and also soulful songstress whose onstage energy and power inspires standing ovations wherever she performs. She is a legendary Grammy and American Music Award winning recording artist with 5 best-selling albums and at least 10 Billboard #1 singles. Over the span of 35 years, Stephanie Mills, who still looks like she's 35 years old, has distinguished herself as an actress and performer who is at home on the Broadway stage and in the recording studio. Y'all know the hits. Come on. What You Gonna Do With My Lovin'? Sweet Sensation. Never Knew Love Like This Before. Two Hearts with Teddy. Keep Away Girls. I have learned to respect the power of love. You put the rush on me. Something in the way you make me feel. Home. And my favorite, I feel good all over. And I definitely feel good to have Stephanie Mills. Welcome, Stephanie.
Thank you. What an introduction. Thank you.
It's so good to see you. You know, Stephanie, we had planned to have you join the Black Press's annual conference, which was just a couple of days. Actually, it ended yesterday, and so I had to go back and say, you know, I had a date with Stephanie Mills, and she stood me up.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Not getting my real computer expert to get this on. I was like, we got to get it. I cannot not be on. So sorry. Please accept my apology because it was me, and I don't know how to do it.
All right, so
but I thought I did, but I did.
So we got a date tonight, and we gonna live it up, right?
Yes, we got a date tonight. Yes, I'm here.
Well, I will say this, you know, your guy, Mr. Harris, said to me when we reached out to invite you to participate, he said your response was, did you say Black Press? Absolutely. Black Press USA? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was like, Black Press? Of course. I'm there. Yes. Yes. We have to support each other.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, Stephanie, you've given us so much to support over the years. And I want to go back to something. I grew up in Queens, New York, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember so vividly something that involved you, of course. You were doing the Wiz, and there was a store on Jamaica Avenue in Queens called The Wiz.
The Wiz.
It was a record store, yeah.
Yes.
And you came to that store, and you know, Queens is not necessarily like Manhattan, especially at that time, but it turned into, Queens was the center of New York that day, and it was pandemonium. You were signing autographs. But here's what really got me. So it was such a pandemonium. They actually took you out, had to take you out in an ambulance to hide you.
They did.
But you went to the hospital and you were signing autographs there.
They did. It was so many people that showed up, and I don't think we anticipated that many people showing up. And they showed up, and the police came, and they were like, we got to get her out of here. We got to get her out of here. And they were like, well, she can't just walk out of here. So let's hide her. Let's get an ambulance. And they had to take me out in the ambulance. I remember that.
Wow.
I remember that.
You know, it's so interesting because we see these, you know, superstars like yourself. And of course, and I'm sure you would agree that the pandemonium around a star was never more pronounced than when Michael Jackson entered a room or a place.
Yes.
But when I saw a video of you and Michael Jackson going, I don't know where you were at, but you entered some place and it was complete pandemonium for both of y'all. And it was like y'all was leaning on each other to get through it. Do you remember that?
Oh, absolutely. That was when Michael requested that I sing his songs for him it was the Boy Scouts. They were giving him an award. And we went there together, and then they wanted us to take pictures and everything together. But we were kind of like just laughing and making fun of the press because we thought it was so funny because they were saying, Stephanie, Michael. So yes, but they wanted us to take pictures together. But Michael was a dear friend of mine.
Yeah. And so going again back to the Wiz, What was that time like for you, other than what we just described at the Wiz store? But you were very young when you achieved success so young. What was that like?
Um, it was unbelievable. It was special. It was joy doing a show like The Wiz back then. And I gotta say that I didn't want to audition for The Wiz because I had gone up for so many other things that I didn't get. So my mom actually had to help me and say, "You're going to go to this audition," and I'm glad I did. But
Yeah,
The Wiz was wonderful. I was in the show for 5 years, and it
yeah,
was absolutely an amazing experience.
yeah, yeah. We see already a comment come in. Novus D Johnson says, "I was
Yes,
I
yes.
was blessed to work with Stephanie at MCA Records. She was a promotion manager's dream. Super sweet and talented. Oh, so talented. All the best, Stephanie. You are loved. Great memories."
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I always try to be very professional, but I must say, me coming from Broadway and doing theater at a very young age really taught me to be disciplined. So I was
Okay.
always ready for my interviews, always ready to do TV. I never complained.
And so, Stephanie, what is the difference, if there's a difference, when you're doing a live Broadway as opposed to a live concert?
Doing a live Broadway show, you have 34 other people or less. That's depending on lines and cues and lights and things like that. With doing my own show, it's just me and my band, and all the cues are really coming from me. If I want to change a song, if I want to do a song, all the cues are coming from me. It's not, but I love both. I love performing live.
Yeah.
I'd love to go back to Broadway and do something for maybe about a year. I would love to do that. But I love performing. The one thing I do miss in this pandemic is not being able to perform live.
Yeah, yeah, and your fans, I'm sure we all miss that because I saw you also, and this was maybe a couple of years ago, if that. It didn't seem like it was long ago. You were at a festival, and you did something that I believe only a handful can do. I think the band or the music was not quite to your liking, or they was having a problem with it, and you just said, "You know what? I'm just going to take this a cappella." And I think you was,
I
yeah,
know it
go ahead.
was in Chicago, and I was doing a track to some songs, like to 2 or 3 songs, and the track messed up. That's one of the reasons why I don't do track shows. I don't like them because anything could happen. But I just decided, I had my singers there. I just decided we don't need the music. We can just do it. And we did.
Phenomenal. As I said, not many can pull that off, especially to the caliber of you. You sang with Teddy, of course.
Yes.
What was that like?
Teddy, I miss him so much. It's so funny because I'll look at videos of Teddy now and I'll say, God, Teddy was so handsome. But back then, he was just my brother. I didn't look at him like that. But Teddy was just handsome and so phenomenal. He was so nice. He was truly my big brother. We had definitely a big brother relationship.
Yeah, yeah. He was absolutely phenomenal, as we all know. And you got to work with him. That's amazing. And then you're telling, I'm sure for all the ladies that are listening, and you're saying you looked at him back then as a brother, then you realize, man, he was handsome. They're like, she blew it.
He could have been my husband. At Teddy. I was just looking at that on YouTube with us singing Feel the Fire. I was like, God, he was fine.
Wow. Well, you know what? I'm sure there's a lot of ladies who feel the same way. Stephanie, you've done some film work, of course, as we talked about. Do you wish that you had done some more acting?
No.
And why is that?
I don't really consider myself an actress, and I hated the audition process. I
Okay.
never liked the audition process. So maybe somebody, now I'll take a meeting or we'll talk about it, but I hated the audition process. I just didn't like it. You walk
Okay.
into a room and people are staring at you and there's no risk. I just did not like the audition process. So that's why I didn't do more.
Yeah. So you know, as I said at the top, it's like you've shown to be very, very at home on the Broadway stage and of course in the studio and concert. But where are you most comfortable?
Where am I most on singing my concerts? I'm
Okay.
most comfortable there, but I'm most comfortable on a stage. I've been on stage since I was nine years old, singing and everything. So I'm comfortable no matter where you put me on television. Like when I did the Wiz Live back in 2015, I was comfortable. Now that was nerve-wracking though, because doing something live, you cannot mess up. But the
Right.
beauty about that is that Kenny Leon, who's a brilliant director, rehearsed it like a Broadway show. So I was very comfortable with that.
Oh, okay. We're with the great Stephanie Mills, the legendary Stephanie Mills, Black Press USA. We are live. Stephanie, there are a lot of comments coming. I keep seeing them. I want, if we can bring them back up. Marlo Davis, love your music. Never knew love like this before. Is in constant replay on my gym playlist.
Oh, thank you, Marlo. Thank you.
Denise Moore Jones says, Teddy, she's got 1, 2, 3, 4 exclamation points.
Denise is my baby. Hi, Denise.
And Scott Survivor says, ask Stephanie if she is friendly with Janet Jackson.
Well, Janet is my baby, but we're not friends because there's such an age difference. And when I was with Michael, she was still a little girl. So we're not friends, but I do love her and I'll support her and support the Jackson family until I die. You know, I love them. I love Mother Jackson, and they've always been wonderful to me and very kind. And I feel like we're family.
Oh, okay, that's fantastic. And that's, you know, it brings to another question. You know, we often think about people of your caliber, the entertainers of your caliber. Who do you hang out with?
Myself. I'm really a loner. I hang out with my cousin Diane, my best friend Troy, Amp, my manager. That's about my son. That's about it. I don't really have, the only real friend I have is Freddie Jackson. We talk every day. And I love Freddie. Freddie's my friend. He's my true friend. But I really hang out with a lot of people. You know, I've always been one to be in the business, but not of the business.
You know, Denzel Washington made a very similar statement not long ago. He was doing an interview with someone, and they asked him about pretty much the same question, but in a different form. It was almost like, why doesn't he hang out with people in Hollywood? And he said the same thing. That's my job. He says, I go home, I got a family, I got friends.
Right.
So that's really interesting. We got more comments. Cheryl Abbott, beautiful spirit.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Chandra Blanks, hello, you are fabulous.
Thank you, Sandra Blanks. Thank you.
Stephanie Mills, are there any other singers or performers in your family?
No. My father, may he rest in power, he sang in quartet. He sang back in quartet because my mother and my father were from the South. But no, there's no other singers in my family.
Okay. No. So, like you said, you was a child when you started. So you started Broadway
I actually started with Maggie Flynn.
Okay.
I was Maggie Flynn, which was a show about 9 Black orphanage kids.
Yeah.
And I was about 12 years old. You know, but I went to the Apollo when I was like 11, and I won 6 weeks in a row there. And then I went to Broadway, and then I used to go to my sister had she worked at the Negro Ensemble Company, so I used to go and love to work there too.
Yeah, and the Apollo winning 6 weeks in a row.
Yes.
for people who may have forgotten how tough that is, tell us about that Apollo crowd.
I think I was so young, I didn't really realize how rough the Apollo crowd was. And I remember the songs I sang. I sang "Who's Loving You" by the Jackson 5 and "For Once in My Life" by Stevie Wonder.
Wow.
I sang it 6 weeks in a row, and I got a chance to meet James Brown, Roberta Flack, King Curtis. Oh, I got a chance to meet a lot of Isley Brothers. And then later on, I got a chance to tour and open for the Isley Brothers and the OJs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you started recording, Stephanie, we always ask an artist this question. When you first heard your song on the radio, what was your reaction?
Oh my God, I was in LA. I remember it like it was yesterday. My sister and I, Judy, we were riding in the car and it came on the radio and we stopped and I got out the car and started dancing.
Wow. Wow.
I was so excited. But you know what? When I hear my songs on the radio now, I'm so excited and so blessed because it doesn't have to be. You know, I take nothing for granted. I'm not in the mindset, oh, well, this is supposed to happen or that is supposed. I've never been one of those artists. I'm grateful. I'm very grateful for my songs still being played and for me to be able to do what I love to do.
Now you did like all your music, all your songs. You did an incredible job on a song that Gladys Knight once did, right? And maybe others did the song too.
Yes, If I Were Your Woman.
If I Were Your Woman. Is there knowing that someone else has recorded the song, how is that when you go in to record that song? Is there added pressure knowing that, let's say, Gladys Knight did this? I gotta bring it. I mean, is there something extra to that?
Well, all hail to Gladys Knight. You know, I bow down to Gladys and Aretha and Dion, all the greats. But I just try to do my version of it, just like with "Feel the Fire." Peebo Bryson wrote that. I just try to do my version of a song that I really love. And I know I can't sing that song like Gladys, but I just put my own emotion into it and just try to make it my own.
Well, you know, Gladys is amazing. She is certainly an icon like you.
Oh,
but I enjoy both versions.
Well, thank you.
Equally the same. Oh man. And now I mentioned at the top that my favorite Stephanie Mills song is "I Feel Good All Over." But do you have a favorite Stephanie Mills song?
I have a favorite Stephanie Mills song, and my favorite Stephanie Mills song is "Starlight."
Oh, okay. And now, want to explain why?
I enjoyed recording that song and just the timbre of my voice and Starlight. I like stars, and it's just a happy song to me, and I like singing it. It's always been my favorite. Wow. And of course, "Power of Love" is one of my favorites too.
Yeah, well, you bring it on both of them, that's for sure.
Thank you.
Oh man, so you mentioned you mentioned your son. Yeah, so you told us something before we went live that he has a new book.
Well, his book has been out for a while.
Okay.
This is Farad's book. It's called "The Adventures of Farad J." Right there. See it, my baby? And he's 19 years old, and you can order his book at faradjmills.com.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about the book.
The book is my son loves spooky. Halloween is his favorite holiday. So with all the traveling that he did, he just put together characters of being in New York and doing pranks. He loves to do pranks and have fun. So the book is about the adventures that he did along with two of his friends and traveling.
Hold it up again, Stephanie.
Okay, here it is. Am I doing it right?
A little bit more. There you go. We could take her full screen. Yeah. And now, is that a character of him on the cover?
That's a character of him on the cover. Yes. And he put drew it like what he wanted, and then we sent it to the guy, and he did it for us.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
Yes. And he's working on a second book.
And you sound like the proud mom.
Oh, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. Because my son is special needs. He has Down syndrome, and he functions at a really, really high level. And I'm just so proud of him.
I saw a video you posted not long ago of you and him dancing in your driveway to one of your songs. It was priceless.
Yes, that was Never Knew Love. That's one of his favorite songs. And actually, I take my son with me everywhere. And Amp, my manager, has made him his assistant.
Oh,
so
wow.
he goes with the band and gets the band water. So one day he came to me and he said, Mom, I don't want to be fired. He probably did something. He said, I don't want to be fired. Is Amp going to fire me? I said, baby, no, you can't be fired. He's not going to fire you. It was so cute. He's so funny. He really is funny.
Wow. Someone else is writing that I love Stephanie. I play her music every day and I love her spirit and the love she has for her son.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes.
Stephanie, you and we're again, if you don't know by now, you'll never know. We're talking to the great Stephanie Mills. This is Black Press USA. We are live with the fabulous Stephanie Mills. We can use a lot of adjectives there. Stephanie, you mentioned that beforehand you talked about your feelings about the situations that are going on in this crazy world we live in, right? We have a pandemic. We have all of the protests and things of that nature. How has that affected you? Like you said, you have a son, 19 years old. What's those discussions been like?
My son is very aware of what's going on. You know, he asks questions about, you know, the guy in the White House and the police, you know, and we're living in a very, very dark period. And I try to stay as positive as I can. And I try to send love whenever I can on my Facebook and Twitter and my accounts. But I feel as a people, we have to come together. This is the perfect time for us to really come together and make some changes. And I'm trying to make changes and change some laws that affect the community. And that's important to me because I'm so tired of seeing the same things of our beautiful Black men being shot down or you know, it's so traumatic for me. Sometimes I can't sleep, like George Floyd and
Ahmaud Arbery.
Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, the list goes on. Sandra Bland, and the list just goes on. These senseless murders. I pray that God gives those families strength to go on and to do what they have to do. Especially the young man, what's his name, Rashad in
Atlanta. Yes.
Oh, tragic. You know, they're using us as target practice. So I don't call. I call them the men of death. I don't call them policemen because I think that's giving them too much respect. And I know that there are good policemen out there, but the bad ones are really showing up. You know.
And isn't it incumbent upon the good ones? Because like you said, we know, I agree with you, there are really good ones there. Isn't it incumbent upon them to step in? We saw a situation, and I forget, I think it might have been in Florida where an officer had a suspect in a chokehold, and she was a female officer who basically got her partner off this guy and said, no, we're not doing that.
Right. But she was fired.
Yeah. So I guess my question was, isn't it incumbent upon the officers themselves to step up and say, you know what?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just the other night I was watching, it was in the afternoon because I can't watch that stuff at night because I can't sleep. But there was a police officer and there was a brother in the car and he was sleeping. And the policeman said, wake up, B. And then he held his nose and suffocated him. and then they stuck the baton in his mouth. And the officer that was on the outside told, and he got reprimanded for telling. So I don't understand the hate. It's like, why? My question to them is, why do they hate us? Why is there so much hate when all we do is love them? We try to take the high road, but I think we've taken the high road enough.
And is that the would you say is that the reason why we're seeing the protests, not just here in America, but it's all over the world now?
They've had it. To see George Floyd and that man with his hands in his pocket, with his knee on his neck, and that for 8 minutes and some.
48 seconds, right? Or 46 seconds.
Lord have mercy. Yeah, but still, it's still going on. So we have to do something. And what I would like to see is that for the laws for the men of death to be federal law across the board, so that whatever they do in Charlotte, they can do in New York, they can do in Chicago, that it's not different. I don't want it. It has to be federal law, all across the board.
Wow, we never imagined the activist Stephanie Mills.
Oh, honey, yes. We must vote. I mean, we have to vote for the Senate and the Congress. We really have to get those people out of there.
Yeah, many mothers, we've heard this so many times, have said that when George Floyd, his last words was calling for his mother.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they say he was calling out to all mothers. Is that how you took it?
I'm almost about to cry now. Yes, because if I was there, I would have had to pull that cop off of him. They would have just had to what do they do? Sting you or
tase you.
There would be no way I could stand there and say, get off, and he not get off. I would have to take one for the team. I really would, because we can no longer just stand by and film. We have to help, regardless of what the consequences are. We can't let them say, get back, and they got their knee on a woman. No, that's not right. That's not right.
Yeah. And does Stephanie, and we again talking to the great Stephanie Mills, when you see things like that, a lot of things, I always ask this question of artists too, as to what inspires some of their lyrics, their songs. That move you in some way to write a song or something about it?
I have written a song, not about that, because I don't want it to be a dark song. I want it to come from a place of strength, but I have written 2 songs. But I don't know if I'm gonna record again. I mean, I love to sing. I'd love to maybe do a duet with somebody or sing background on somebody else's song. But for me to actually go in the studio and I don't know. I don't have that kind of desire.
Yeah.
But if I wrote a song about it, I would definitely go in and do it and put it on my page or something like that. I would love, I'd like to do that, but I don't know.
Well, again, novice.
Yes.
Yeah, there should be a law that no one else other than Stephanie can sing Home. I agree. Stephanie owns that. That song has been sung. All the Stephanie Mills wannabes can sit down now.
Oh my goodness, novice. Oh, thank you. That is Home is such, and Charlie Smalls, who wrote all the music for The Wiz, was just a brilliant, brilliant writer. And Home is a song that at the end of the show, of course, in Wiz, she learns that she had the power all along, and all she wants to do is get home. So when I re-recorded it for my audience, I wanted to make it a little bit more urban, and I wanted people never to forget that song. That's why I re-recorded it. But Home is a song that I will always sing and I will always be proud of.
Wow. Well, before we let you go tonight, we're gonna kind of give you a surprise with that. So, Zach Oliver, Miss Stephanie Mills, would you ever consider reviving the role of Dorothy? A one night only performance of the show would be legendary. The Wiz will always be a wow.
Do you know how old I am? I am 63. And that body would not take it. No, could you imagine me at 63 running across the stage? No, honey. No, I'll sing those songs for you, but I couldn't play Dorothy. No. No.
Well, you know, I don't know, Stephanie. You give the appearance like maybe so.
I don't know. Maybe a concert version, but I don't know. Somewhere with what is he saying?
Marlo Davis actually he produced this phenomenal video with all of these kids, Stephanie, from Over the Rainbow. It's called Over the Rainbow. These kids are doing an off-Broadway. I think they're going to Broadway when the pandemic is over. We had them on the program a couple of weeks ago, and they were absolutely, you would absolutely fall in love with these kids. And anybody who haven't seen Marlo Davis's production of that, you have to see it. He says, one more comment for Stephanie Mills. Miss Mills singing Christmas every day on Motown, Merry Christmas 87 is permanently burned in my brain. And that cat suit was everything.
I worked hard to get in that cat suit. Lord Jesus. Thank you. Thank you. I love doing that Christmas show. I remember that. Lola Falana, I think, Natalie Cole. There was a bunch of us. Yeah. Yeah. Christmas is my favorite time of year anyway.
Okay. You mentioned singing a duet, possibly singing a duet with someone. If there is someone who would have to approach you today to say, Stephanie, let's do a duet, and you say yes?
He passed away. I wanted to do a duet with Prince.
Oh gosh. Everybody always mentions Prince to me. It's like torture.
Really? Oh, I had a chance to meet Prince, and I love to do. I'd love to do a duet with Lenny Kravitz.
Oh yes,
that would be fun and different. And I really would like to do some songs with some of the younger, like Jasmine Sullivan or Deborah Cox, and some of us all get together and do a song. Lettucey. I would love to do that. I would love to tour and all of us get together and go out and tour and do everything together and show a lot of love and camaraderie. I've been wanting to do that for a very long time.
Well, I could never imagine any of them or anybody else turning Stephanie Mills down for a tour. That's for sure.
I would love to. I love working, with other females and doing, and I also love the girl that was on Broadway doing The Color Purple with Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson is wonderful, and I can't remember her name, but she had short hair, but she did the contribute to Aretha Franklin with me, I think last year. And Yolanda Adams. There's a lot of great singers out there that I would love for us to just all get together and just do a wonderful, wonderful song and have John P. Key produce it. I love it.
Now, we talked earlier about Feel the Fire and Teddy Pendergrass. If somebody said, let's do that again, who would that somebody have to be?
To do Feel the Fire? Probably Tyrese. Okay. He has that kind of Teddy voice. Tyrese, who else? Boy. Cisco.
Okay.
Cisco, John Legend. I don't know. It would be interesting with John Legend. I don't know. It's hard. So, Usher. Okay. Yeah, somebody with a strong and what can bring that masculine voice. But Tyrese would be my first choice.
Usher. Speaking of Usher, it was said earlier on in his career that he was the next Michael Jackson. Um, can anybody be the next Michael Jackson in your book?
Now you are asking the wrong. I don't think there could ever be another MJ.
Well, Stephanie, I'm gonna give you a small argument, right? And you might agree. You might be surprised. You know the Jackson family very well.
Yes.
So Michael has a nephew.
Yes.
Austin. Not only does Austin look like Michael, but that boy's talent is unreal.
Really?
Unreal. I'm surprised you didn't know that.
It's coming from them genes. I didn't know that. It's coming. I know Jamari, Jamajesty, and I don't know Austin. Who's
Austin
son?
He's Reeby's son.
Reeby's son. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay. All right.
That's
from the Jackson. That's that string of talent, and it comes back. But I don't think anybody without the name Jackson can. I think Michael is, and I'm prejudiced because I think he's just everything. I think he's talented. He's the kindest, the sweetest. He was so humble. I never heard him say an unkind word about anyone. I've never saw him really get angry. Maybe testy a little bit, but never like all out anger. No, I'm a Michael Jackson fan for life.
Stephanie Mills, we were talking about some of your greatest hits, and it's so many. So when you do a show, when you're going through the playlist, Stephanie, obviously there's some things you have to leave out. How difficult is it to make that playlist, knowing that your fans are looking for everything?
I would love to say that I put my show together, but my show is put together by Amp, my manager. And he puts it together, and he really basically we choose the songs together, but he puts them in the lineup. But if I say, oh, I really want to do this, or he knows I love a song or whatever, he'll put it in and we'll do a medley of it. There's no way I could really do all of my songs, but he does a great job with putting my show together. And I really enjoyed that because I like being the artist, and it leaves me to be creative in other ways. But he does a great job with putting my show together.
I know Amp is watching, and Amp can also come on and onto the show, and we can grill him about that and make sure that
you should bring him on.
That's Amp. Come on, Amp. Don't be shy. Because we want to talk about it.
It's really, really been a blessing in my life. And I had to ask Amp a gazillion times to be my manager. He turned me down like 3, 4, 5 times.
Oh, we definitely got to talk to him. Come on, Amp. Let's talk. We got something to talk about.
Nope. And I kept coming. I just kept asking, kept coming, till finally I think I wore him down. He said, okay.
Amazing. So you have a favorite producer that you like to work with, or you have worked with?
I've worked with some wonderful producers, of course, in Tume and Lucas, who gave me my hits, and working with Angela Winbush and Teddy Riley. I worked with. I've worked with some wonderful producers, and they each bring something different. But I like working with producers that really know how to produce singers, because everybody doesn't know how to produce singers. And in Tume and Lucas were masters at that, and Angela Winbush was a master at that.
Yeah. Is there? You mentioned Prince. You mentioned, of course, your friend Michael. But is there somebody else that you didn't get a chance to work with or even meet, which I kind of find that part hard to believe, but that you would like to meet or work with?
Meet or work with? Oh my God. When you say, I would love to meet, but she's not a singer, but I would love to meet our first lady, who to me is still my first lady, Miss Michelle Obama. I would love to meet her. I'd like to work with John Legend. I like his music. I love his spirit. And I like that he doesn't take a lot from people in this industry. I'd like to do a song with Snoop.
No kidding.
Sounds crazy. I'd like to do a song with Snoop, maybe do some backgrounds for him. Who else? Oh, I enjoy artists. I enjoy artists who stay true to who they are. And those are the artists that I would love to work with. But I like people that are unique in what they do. Because I've always tried to stay true to my audience and true to what I feel and do. So, but I'd like to work with Lenny Kravitz. Yeah. Something.
We had.
And you know who else I love? I love Michael McDonald. I love. He has a lot of soul.
Yeah. You mentioned Lenny Kravitz again. We had the other day Carlos Santana and Cindy Blackman Santana on, and Cindy, of course, works with Lenny Kravitz. He plays the drums for him.
Oh, okay. I like too. Yes, because It Ain't Over Till It's Over is one of my favorite songs.
Oh yeah.
I like that song. I like what it's saying. So yeah.
Yeah, legend has it that he did that song out of heartbreak. So
probably from Lisa Bonet.
Probably from Lisa Bonet, yeah.
It Ain't Over Till It's Over. But they have a wonderful union now with her husband and their daughter and all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just got to make it all work.
Yeah.
Now.
One of our viewers said was it Keith Washington? Yeah, Judy Jones says Keith Washington would be a great combo duet.
Yes, would be a great duet for Feel the Fire. Thank you, because I can't think of everybody. Yes, Keith Washington. Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
The group.
And he had on my show and sang "Feel the Fire" with me. Stephanie, you still look beautiful. Oh, thank you. The group. Thank you. Trying to keep it together.
This is what happens at Black Press USA when we're live. The fans shower the gifts, and you can see it yourself.
Oh, they say you're asking the best questions they've heard in a long time, and you.
Well, they're giving me the questions.
He's taking it all from you.
Yeah. Stephanie, were you ever nervous when you went on stage?
I'm nervous all the time. And I think if you're not nervous, then something's wrong. Yeah. I'm nervous every time until I hit that first note and do that first song. I'm nervous all the time.
All these people, thousands of people there, they're expecting you. The microphone's there, the band set up, you go on that stage. When you look up, the lights go down. What goes through your mind at that moment?
I'm thankful. I'm thankful that there's people there. They spent their hard-earned money to come see me. And I feel like I'm in the sun. I'm in the light, and I want to just give my all and do my very best. When they leave there, I want them to feel like she gave 1,000%.
Yeah. And certainly it doesn't sound at all like you've taken anything for granted, but how important is that for these artists who are successful not to take it for granted? We're in a pandemic now. We see that anything can happen, as you and I have talked about already. But what advice would you give artists coming up now about not taking anything for granted?
Stay humble. Stay prayed up, and don't live too large. Don't live so large that you become a slave to your lifestyle. Mm-hmm. That's very important, because then you're not a slave to the industry. You don't have to do things that you may not want to do. so you can live nicely, but you don't have to live so large. You don't have to
Yeah.
impress anybody, and
Yeah.
stay straight up and and you don't have to have a large entourage. I don't have a large entourage, and I don't travel with a lot of people. The more people, the more problems. So keep your people, keep your space and your inner circle very, very small.
Yeah. Stephanie, was there any song that became a hit or a fan favorite that surprised you?
Actually, I was surprised. I didn't expect Home to be the hit it was.
Really?
I did not expect Home to be the hit it was, and I didn't expect Feel the Fire to be the hit it was.
No kidding.
I did not, because you never know. You go into the studio and you record the song and you give it all you have. And I love recording. I really do. I love being in the studio. I just don't like the antics after,
Okay.
and but I love recording. I love expressing myself in song. But I didn't know the songs. You never know what's going to be a hit and what's not. I didn't
Yeah.
expect to win the Grammy for Never Knew Love Like This before. That was my first song out.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was that like? Because the Grammys, you go there, you're nominated number one. I'm sure that was a thrill for the first time. And then they call your name. The winner is Stephanie Mills.
I wasn't there. I was
Okay.
in Onyx City working, but Teddy was there.
Okay.
He accepted my award for me.
Wow. Wow. Well, did you feel like I should have been there?
Yeah, I did. I feel like I, I should have been there. Yeah, I did. I went to a lot of shows after that. I went to some when I was nominated again and at the American Music Awards. But I feel blessed that I have every award there is in the industry, and I'm thankful because it makes me feel like I really accomplished something.
Yeah. So did you know that you became a symbol of strength and pride for millions of young Black girls and women? If you did know that, how does that make you feel?
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. But you have to have a lot of strength in this business because it's not always easy. It's not always easy, and you get more no's than you get yes, and you get more accolades. You don't get a lot of accolades. You get more like, oh, well, you can't do this or you can't do that, more than anything. So you really have to champion yourself a lot of times.
Does the no's and the lack of accolades, does that give you more impetus to really go after it?
Yes. Yes, because I've been told so many times I can't do this, I can't do that. When I was in the Wiz, the critics were brutal. They were so mean to me. But I didn't let that bother me. I just keep going because I had a strong mother. My mother was very, very strong, and she taught me from a young girl, Cookie, never look back. Just keep going. Just keep going, no matter what the naysayers say. You just keep going. Don't ever look back. So I never did.
Yeah. The national chair of the Black Press USA, Karen Carter Richards, is watching Stephanie, and she says, "Don't." She loved what you said. Don't live so large and become a slave to your lifestyle. She says, "I love it."
Yeah, because so many times we become a slave, to our lifestyle, and we're trying to impress the next person of that, and you're trying to impress somebody that may not even have what you think they have.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
and so Stephanie, we've heard you talk about things that we didn't expect you to talk about tonight, and with a lot of passion too. Uh, um, can you also you mentioned your mom. Tell us how obviously she instilled a lot of that in you. Can you tell us how your upbringing was? How was she as a mom with this young, just fantastic talent?
my mother and my father, I grew up with a mother and father, and we grew up in Brooklyn. Um, and there were six of us, three girls and three boys. I'm the baby girl, and I have a baby brother. But my mother was one of them staunch church going Cornerstone Baptist Church mothers that loved her children. Her children and her life was everything. And I was a mommy's girl. I was always with my mother. My mother had a beauty salon on Utica Avenue. So after school, I would always go there. But my mother loved us. She loved us. She never hit us. But my mother was a cursor. Ooh. she was a cursor. But my mother loved her children and don't mess with her children and don't mess with her husband. She didn't play that. So my upbringing was good. I mean, we were poor. I didn't know that we were poor. I guess we were, but we had everything we wanted and everything we needed. I never wanted for anything. And my mother, I'm the mother that my mother was. You know, I learned to be the mother that I am. And I'm so glad that I did with my son, because I'm truly the mother that my mother was. She was absolutely, and my father was a hard worker. He worked for the city of New York, and he drove a taxi at night to take care of us.
Yeah. Stephanie, you mentioned a name that I know American music fans love, and that was Freddie Jackson. So you make sure you give Freddie Jackson the love of Black Press USA when you talk to him again. That's another phenomenal voice.
I will, and you have to have him on. Yes. Absolutely. Yes, you have to have him on because he has a new song called Why.
Oh, great. And so before we let you go, you got to tell us anything new that we can expect from you anytime soon.
I'm writing a book of how to raise a child with special needs, and I want to help other people that have a child with Down syndrome in our community. I want to help them help their children. That's my passion. So I'm writing a book on how I raised my son and the things that you can do. And don't buy into what the doctors tell you that they can't do this, they can't do that. They can do anything with love, patience, and kindness.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have been talking about the song Home, one of your signature songs, if not your signature song. And we all love it. We can't imagine anybody else as I guess it was, who was it? It wasn't Amp, it was someone else who said, nobody better touch that song. And he's absolutely, he was absolutely right. And so right now, special treat, we're going to play Home by Stephanie Mills. Our news director is now about to put it on for you all, for your enjoyment. Give it a second, and we're going to go to Home by Stephanie Mills. Oops.
Will I see it?
Yes, you will. Here we go. Okay. I think he's having a little technical difficulty, Stephanie, but
a little bit. I think of a resting place.
Hey, we love it live too. my, you know.
Oh my God, it made me cry.
Oh, you know, there's no reason for anybody to ever dream of trying to remake that. I agree 1000%.
Seeing the pictures of Charlie Smalls and stuff, it brings back so many memories. Shooting that video, it took like 3 days to do that video.
Wow. Well, from a fan's point of view, it was more than worth it. And what America wants to know is, do you still have that dress?
Do I still? Let me tell you about that dress. My dresser that was dressing me at the time lost that dress. I don't have it.
You know, we had Salt and Pepper, Salt from Salt and Pepper on the other day, and we asked her about those iconic leather jackets that they wore in the Push It video, and they lost it too.
Or either they lost it or they took it.
Yeah. Exactly.
You
We were
know?
trying to be nice.
I don't have it. I wish I did. I was looking at that dress. I was like, wow, I should have that dress now. I couldn't, but I wish I had it.
Wow. Stephanie Mills, we could talk to you forever, but we know we have to unfortunately let you go. I so appreciate, we appreciate Amp Harris and for making this happen.
Yeah.
Stephanie for saying the Black Press, of course I'll do Black Press USA.
Anytime.
And real quick, one more time, tell us about, show us your son's book if you still have it near you, and tell them where they can get it.
Is that good?
Yep, The Adventures.
You can get it at faradjm.com.
Absolutely. And we're looking forward to your book, Stephanie.
Yes.
Yep. And we're looking forward to your book later as well.
Yes.
Thank you so much, and continued safe happiness and everything else, Stephanie. You seem so at peace with life. You look wonderful, and we know we can't wait to hear you sing again. So thank you so much.
And I'm so blessed and thankful that you are doing well.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. We really appreciate it.
No.
Stephanie Mills, everybody, the one and only. It's been a true delight.
Ah.
Stay safe and stay well. Have a good night.
Okay, thank you.